This is a slightly long-winded question, but if you'll indulge me with
Well,
it. So I've seen...
I'll give you enough.
I've seen loads of
long-winded
people,
answers.
I've seen loads of people with the Blackpool Combat Club T-shirts and jumpers on. You were doing the pose with people earlier. And in January, when you were, parted ways with WWE, there was a lot of people who were, really shocked and disappointed that you weren't there anymore. Fans, talking about it online and everything. But I want to quote you.
Okay.
You said to Excalibur, "You Rice Krispie treat, you can snap, crackle, and pop me anytime, sweetheart."
Yeah.
So we go from January to
Yep.
now you are in this faction with Bryan Danielson, Jon Moxley, Claudio Wheeler-Yuta, and you look like you're having the time of your life.
So I've made no bones about the fact why I'm in AEW. Right? I was happy to take, when I got the call in, I knew it was coming. I had a good idea because people were coming down to, there was obviously changes going on, and I agreed with a lot of the changes because we'd pretty much peaked. I don't know if anybody will ever realize this until it's too late. I have a theory. Some people have heard this, but everything peaked at TakeOver Portland. And in February of 2020, we came out of that show, and this is all the talent included, and we all went, that's as good as it's ever going to... what more can we do? How much more can we do? We've got to figure something a little bit different out. The quality is that good, and we've done so many how can we change this? And while we were all trying to put our heads around that's including all the top talent and everybody there, 3 weeks later, COVID hit. And we just went into survival mode, which everybody did. And I think I'll leave it up to what you can have your own versions of what happened. I think it was all happened in the same time frames are a bit off for me because I had a very strange 2018. So my memories, there was a lot of 2018 and early 2019 I wasn't around. But it all seemed to happen. AEW came along, which you knew anybody young and is a different product with a different group of people. And I think because what we were doing in NXT wasn't translating onto the main roster. I will put it that way. And I think some of the fan base were getting sick of their people that they were getting behind in NXT not getting to where they thought they should do on the main roster. It's about as easy a way as I can say that. I think it all came along at the same time. And people were getting a bit... And a new product came along, and anything new is different. And with people that you only see if you can hunt out certain things, and it was all exciting. No different than NXT became all exciting. Right? It was something that, and then we went into survival mode. And so all these things changed. And I was quite happy to take a year off. There was a particular person who's no longer there now, so it's not, and certainly not the boss. Because I can't tell you, but I can tell you that it was nothing to do with him why I'm not there. And he looked after me very, very well on the way out. And told me a few things that I can't tell you, but just basically people have to make their own mistakes, Darren. So, but I knew it. And I was, okay, I'll just go. I'll just go for a while. And I'm going to take a year off because I never got a chance to catch up or really recover from all the stuff that went on with me in 2018, which was a lot, including 2 bleeds on the brain, which now and then that causes me to ramble sometimes, as you've probably noticed. But also, I didn't know how long I was going to be able to do this. And I'm fine now, and major heart things and whatever, but I'm fine. I wished I'd have felt like this when I was wrestling. Christ. Honestly, I wished I'd have felt this good for so many years when I was wrestling, but I'm all right now. And somehow I've got through it. So I was happy to take a year off, and then Brian called me. And I won't say what, but I am going to, because he's going through whatever he's going through, but Mr. McMahon was very good to me. To the point of, and if you ever want, I will say this, because for whatever he's going through, he was excellent to me. I had a talent contract as well as as an employee contract, and it didn't run out till the end of April, because I played William Regal. I started for AEW on the 2nd of March, or 7th of March. I didn't call anybody else. I just sent a message straight to the boss. Hey, boss, I've got this opportunity, this thing, Brian, and he loves Brian as well. Absolutely, you go. And still paid me till the end of my talent contract. So I was the only person who ever got paid by both companies at the same time. Right? But I went there, and Brian, well, I think you can help out. I said, no, I just want to be talent. Maybe I can help out in the long run, but I've just done, when you put so much of yourself, and the last couple of years in COVID, trying to keep everybody okay, right? Because there's so many people we had a crew of people over here that we had for 5 months on lockdown. So instead of sitting idle, we were watching matches and breaking them down. 6 hours a day, 5 days a week, I was doing that on Zoom calls with the UK crew. Nobody was sat doing nothing, looking after trying to do things with everybody, right? And all the talent in NXT that were all from different countries, they were no different. And the same with me. I've got realities. I can't, I had 2 aunties die in COVID. I couldn't come over here. My dad is 88. I couldn't come and see him. And there's just realities, right? And I was like, I just want a year off. I need to just rest. I knew it's coming because the person you've sent to try to look over us, I think is an idiot. And I'm telling him to his face that he's an idiot over and over again. And he can't have that. And I understood that. I understood that because nobody knew when Triple H, if he was ever going to come back. And I didn't know. So it's total makes business sense to take me out of the equation. Because everybody there didn't matter what happened, they still come to me. Well, they're supposed to go to somebody else. So I knew my time was short. And it didn't help with me keep calling him an idiot all the time. But I come out and I go, and I said, look, I just want to be talent. And then Brian said, no, we're just going to do this with me. Oh, wow, okay. And then you do this with John. Oh, wow, okay. And that's about as much as I can tell you, because I get there at 10 o'clock in the morning and I'm training with people who want to train, because I make the most of my day or 2 days a week there, but I'm talent. I just happen, as I've always done, how I ended up with the job that I've just had, I was always by the ring. I'm never sitting around doing something, because if it wasn't for people I've mentioned who helped me when I was younger, I wouldn't be here. I don't play cards, I don't do gossip, I don't talk, I've got no conversation with anybody about sports. So I don't sit in the dressing rooms with everybody. I go out to the ring and I'm either training myself, like doing my own exercises, or people would come along. And that's gone for years. That was 20 years of me being in WWE that year. Well, 11 or whatever it was till I moved full-time to NXT. So I always did that. And so I just want to be talent. And maybe after a month, then maybe ask me and I can do things. Well, once I got there, I thought, well, they've got everything sorted out. That for me, I don't have to think about anything. I don't give it the... William Regal now is just back to being, when I started as Lord Stephen Regal, it was, how can I be a carry-on character so everybody in Britain gets the act, but people over in America will hate me, right? And all these influences and all these experiences now is just me, stuff that I haven't done for years, or it's just become whatever this character is, and I don't give it the slightest thought. What happened the first week or whatever, me just being me, not the thought, mentioned something to Excalibur. And it went from there, and at the time I was watching Brassic, And everybody's calling everybody sweetheart now on that show. And I thought, oh, I like that. And I've always called people sunshine and flower and petal and, northern sayings. So I thought, And so I did it once, and I've never once put any thought for the slightest bit in what I'm going to say. And if you actually watched, I actually hesitated because I had no clue what I was going to say. And that just, a second, and then I went, blah, 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 blah. Which I've done every single week, and it's become a thing now. And I've left it alone for a few weeks because I thought the matches were too serious to do it. And then, but don't keep expecting it because I don't put any thought into it. No, and don't think sending me stuff on Twitter is going to work. I don't look at it. I just put stuff on there and don't look at it anymore, ever. I stopped doing that years ago. Because I haven't got enough time, it's only so much headspace, and I don't need to read negative stuff. So I just learned that I'm not on Facebook, I'm not on any, I have to put a couple of things on there, or I just put things on there, and then I don't look at it again. So, or I look at a few things for gifts, because of old wrestling that I can stuff. So, it's just become what it is, and am I having time in my life? Yes, I am. I'm having a time in my life because I get on with all the people that are in our group, and it's a real thing. We are there training with Wheeler at 10 o'clock. I'm not messing about with that because of me and Brian are there, and Claudio started coming now. John turns up when John wants, but that's... No, but I don't... That's why I like him. He fits... He has his role in our group, but then he comes backstage, and then although he's different, he'll put things into a different perspective to me, to Wheeler. And after he's come out the ring, because he's on firing on all cylinders, and I go, oh, that's stuff that I wouldn't know, because he's lived different life to me. And it's all about, and it's not just it. Now, all of a sudden, there's a group of other people that are listening. And so, yeah, because we're trying to just make this whatever it is. Basically, it's no different than how NXT started. Let's just try to make everybody as good as they can be. And that's what it is. And me just happen to be able to do all this stuff that I do and just say stupid stuff. Those announcers have a brutal job of just calling stuff. I've done announcing, and I know how hard it is. If I can go out and just make Excalibur smile for 20 seconds, it takes his mind, because he's got all these things that he's got to get out there and hit them word perfect, and then everybody else has got. And so, I want to be, again, the least problem. Just go out. If I can just lighten the load and just have him, if I see him smile through that, or the other two laugh, or whatever, good. If I've took 5 seconds of them and made them not go, that's me, no different than helping you or teaching a wrestler how to do something a certain way. I'm doing my bit to lighten the load a little bit. That's why I do it.
Vince, a team of psychiatrists could spend a career working on Vince McMahon, and in the end, Vince would still be Vince, and the psychiatrist would be in a rubber room at the Puzzle Factory.